It's Meandering Movies. It's Meandering Movies. It's Meandering Movies. So won't you lend an ear?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Meandering Movie Podcast, where myself and my co-host, who is currently having a dab off with himself, talk about.
Yeah, dab.
We have audio boys join them in the dabbing now. That's great. They're dabbing. There's so much dab. It's like Fortnite in front of me. It's just unpleasant to look at.
Dab on the bodies. Dab on the bodies. Fortnite.
Now, anytime you talk about Fortnite, you're technically making an Avengers Endgame reference.
I'm so cool and young and
yeah,
hip.
so this is the Meandering Movie Podcast. We have a topic. Sometimes, well, all the time we have a topic, but usually we barely
We
stick
always
to
have
it.
a topic.
We always have a topic. We barely stick to it.
We barely stick to it.
But
we always, I was thinking about this, we do, however, always, well, 95% of the time stay on movies.
Yes.
We
Sometimes
if you like movies and you came in for the topic, you might be disappointed, but on the whole, we are still talking about films. We're not one of those podcasts where we go, oh yeah, we're the Meandering Movie Podcast. Hey Gavin, what did you do in the summer of 1996 with your family? Oh, well, I did a funny anecdote. Lol, funny. Let's get...
I would have been 4, so not a lot.
What did you do? Don't tell us.
Oh,
we'll lose,
no.
we'll lose them. We'll lose
Yeah, we'll
listeners.
lose them.
They're here for the movies.
Yeah, so that beautiful voice that you hear asking me questions about the summer of 96 is...
Hello.
Is...
I'm Gary.
It's Gary!
I'm the good, fun one.
You're the good fun one, and the miserable bastard over there is Audio Boy. Boom, got him.
He
got him.
You. He did get you.
I wasn't born in 1996.
Great drop in. And I am...
Trenchfoot.
No.
It's
I am
gonna stick.
I'm the sticky soybean sauce boy, Gavin. Good luck to me remembering that at the end of the episode.
I think I've cracked your code for giving yourselves names. It's something I've eaten in the last 12 hours.
I did have like black bean beef and rice and everything yesterday.
There we go.
Yeah, sticky sauce isn't a new nickname of any kind. You've thrown soybean in there to change it up from white sauce was the last time.
Yeah,
the white sauce
maker, though.
Yeah.
Let's not forget the whale talker, one of my
Whale
personal
whisperer.
I've got one saved on my phone that I was gonna use one of the Avengers ones, but then you railroaded over the names and that's a great one.
I was very excited about the Avengers episode, though. Like, I was very excited about
I know
the
you
Avengers
were.
episode.
We both were. Yes, this week, you probably already know this from reading the title, we're going to do a roundup of some of the movies that came out in May.
May movie roundup.
May movie roundup.
And it's been a busy month.
It's been a busy month because everything...
High-profile releases.
Because obviously April was just Avengers.
Yeah.
So everything kind of...
was avoiding.
Got out of the way. So the first film we're going to talk about in our May movie roundup Pokémon Detective Pikachu.
It's and as we mentioned, I don't know if you mentioned it on mic or not, but its actual name is Pokémon Detective Pikachu. No colon.
Nope.
No
nothing. Just Pokémon Detective Pikachu.
One sentence.
One long, grammatically annoying title.
So what did you think of Pokémon Detective Pikachu?
The way in which I would describe Pokémon Detective Pikachu is the way I'm going to describe a lot of these films tonight, which is Pokémon Detective Pikachu is meh. It's enjoyable at times.
Yeah. My takeaway from it was it's a kid's film.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunately it hasn't transcended into that Disney realm of a kid film that's enjoyable for everyone. It's just pretty firmly wedged into...
Which I get why, because the Pokemon Company, and particularly the Japanese segment of the Pokemon Company, which I think they're a US segment too, they are so stupidly protective. Not stupidly protective. They are smartly protective of the Pokemon...
Of their IP.
Of IP. And you and I have had the chance to read, I say like we have insider knowledge, that's not the case. Just we, like everyone else, have had the chance to read interviews with people that have talked about the decisions, like when the Pokemon Company would say yes to things or no to things that appear in the movie. It's really interesting to see what they were fine with being in the movie and what they weren't fine with being in the movie.
And the big one was the Mr. Mime stuff and the Lickitung scene were the two things that they went... we had to fight for these two segments.
Yeah, they're a bit uncomfortable with it. I mean, the Lucky Tongue one, you get that out of the movie. It's just not pleasant.
What I don't understand, it's a funny one though. I don't get why the Pokemon Company were being so weird about it, because...
Maybe they thought it was a bit too sexual.
Yeah, but that is that Pokemon. I mean, that Pokemon If you look up any sprite for that Pokemon in any of the Pokemon games, it has a gigantic tongue, and its whole being is licking. Its name is Licky Tongue.
I'm just upset that Jinx wasn't in the movie.
I mean, I think we all know why. You know, they had to lighten Jinx's...
I know. That's why I'm upset she wasn't in the movie.
I think
Because I'd like to have seen them tackle that one.
They changed it from black to blue to try and
it
circumvent.
It kind of looked like one of the black and white minstrels
It looks like a
characters you would have seen in like
stereotype
the 20s. Oh, Pokemon. But yeah, so I
It is
think
weird they did
with Pokemon Detective Pikachu, to use its full name, obviously, and nothing else.
Nothing. There's no second best.
The only thing that I think keeps that film to the level of enjoyment that it is and makes it something adults can enjoy with kids is Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
Because without Ryan Reynolds, there's not a whole lot else in that movie to grasp onto and enjoy.
Yeah.
The kids, obviously, they can enjoy the Pokemon stuff. And
Pokemon.
In fact, adult fans of Pokemon will fucking lose their shit watching these live action Pokemon.
Well,
Because
sorry about that one bit. Yeah,
When I
watching the live action Pokemon was
Yeah.
cool as fuck.
when I went to see the film, sitting to the right of me was a group of 3 Asian girls who sat well forward in their seats with their head in their hands just going, ah, the entire time. They were losing their shit with enjoyment. They were so happy. And then you look over at me and it's just this miserable, bearded prat just looking at the screen going, well, plot-wise, this doesn't really technically make sense with what and just being an arsehole about because that's...
And then I mean, I kind of fall into both of those camps. So big old Pokemon fam. I love Pokemon
You
fam.
just sit in your balls or something because the way you moved there, it's like you crushed something.
My wrist tweaked.
Oh, okay.
Don't know. I was just moving.
Why'd you never take your shoes off and then put them all over my...
I think you'll find the soles of both of my shoes are nowhere near your furniture.
Yeah, but they're going to be on
They're
the
not.
They're going to move on to the furniture.
They will not.
I can see a big dirty leaf in the bottom of that shoe.
Is it on your furniture?
It will be. You just put the dirty fucking leaf on the fucking
On
furniture.
purpose. Because you were being a ball bag.
About I don't come to your house and shit in your garden.
You can if you want. It's a lot of dog shit out there anyway.
Oh, you got pets. So.
We got pets. We got animals.
Fine, I'll shit on top of your toilet seat.
It's a bit different. Yeah, as a kind of Pokemon fan myself and an avid movie lover, probably the biggest movie lover in the room.
Fuck off. No, you're not.
I kind of went into that film and it started off being a bit fan servicey and he's in Lavender
Which
Town
is
and they
fair.
do the throwing the
It's fair.
Pokeball bit.
I was fine with that.
That was all right. Very quickly it became apparent Justice Smith's
Can't act.
can't act. Maybe
He can.
he was
If you
doing
watch The Get Down, he can act.
yeah. I was gonna say he's doing his best, but I just think maybe he's out of his depth on the big screen.
He's not really the leading man sort, is he?
Definitely wasn't. Yeah, that's definitely struggled with that. But then I suppose he's not. He's the sidekick of that movie.
Yeah, but for like the first 20 minutes when it's just him,
Yeah,
and you're like, oh, you're a supporting actor. You're not a
not a lead.
lead.
Man. Not yet.
And you can't convincingly deliver any emotion. Have you ever had emotions, Justice
You
Smith? I
okay,
don't know
Justice Smith?
if you've experienced emotions before because you can't seem to portray
Yeah.
them on screen.
And
Once
then-
again, watch The Get Down. He's the lead. It's really good.
It's a TV show though.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's different.
Talking about movies here, the Meandering
films.
movie
Well,
podcast.
excuse me.
And it was a Game of Thrones. What did you think?
So yeah, Justice Smith, bit meh, or very meh. Then the jokes were kind of okay. They were landing. Definitely some really childish jokes.
For me,
you're right. The Pokemon was phenomenal. Seeing all the Pokemon come to brought to life looked amazing.
what's very clear from watching that film is everyone involved
Cared a great deal.
loved and cared about Pokemon and knew a lot about Pokemon
Yeah,
as well.
they did their research.
Because can you imagine those visual effects artists, like the team that worked in that film,
yeah.
and they come to them like, "Hey, so our new project, guys, we're doing the Pokemon movie," and you can just imagine these people going,
Someone's
"Finally,
I've been
my-
drawing Pokemon for
I've
years
been
in my
doing-
notebook.
Yes, I've been sitting on DeviantArt drawing fucking Pikachu with a hat for all my
Fuck
life.
you, Miss Donnelly. You said I'd never make a job out of drawing Pokemon, and here I am.
Fucking, my entire homework bit was covered in fucking Charmanders, and here I am. I'm in charge of this visual effects live action
Charge of the
Pokemon movie.
Charizard. And then I think it was around the halfway mark. They get to the research department,
Starring Rita Ora.
starring Rita Ora,
Which is so bizarre.
Odd cameo. And then the pacing goes from normal to insane. Shit just starts.
Yeah, you're talking about the bit
happening.
when those what the Pokemon called the land starts moving.
Everything from that point onwards just starts getting so rapid, and they stop explaining things, and characters just.
Oh no, they never stop explaining things.
They well, no, yeah,
They
but then
never stop explaining.
You've got
things.
characters that are here at point A, and then the rest of the characters are at point B, and they make it very clear that point A and point B are nowhere near each other. And then because the character at point A needed to be at point B, they just appear, and buildings get scaled in an instant because and it's you know what I mean. And then
as the film moved along, it starts off kind of ground level and grounded, and then when like you said, once they get to the laboratory stuff, it just fucking takes off, and you're just like, where did this this is like moving at a pace and thing. These characters are doing things that one, they never seemed capable of doing before, or wouldn't have done, and they're doing it with great ease. It's like, Jesus Christ.
It's bizarre. And it loses its pacing completely. And then the story starts just kind of...
The biggest problem with Detective Pikachu, and it's not easy to do a kind of mystery, kind of investigative, kind of noir-esque story, which is what this film tries to do. But it's not good. Because I think...
It's just basic.
I think by the time Justice Smith and Ryan Reynolds are sitting in that bar, like, and he's drinking the coffee and stuff, I was like, I figured this plot out. And then
the moment... So, before we do this, Audio Boy, spoiler warning, and this is your spoiler warning for the episode.
Aha! No. I mean, if we want to recommend these films for people to go see, I think we should avoid spoilers.
You want to avoid it?
I think we avoid spoilers.
Okay, fine. I retract that. Reverse it.
Do the noise backwards.
Yeah, I think the moment I saw the villain, I went, okay, that's the villain.
Yeah.
Like instantly. It didn't even cross my mind that I could have even been wrong. And then when it happened at the end, I went, yep. Yeah, okay. However, there was a little twist in there. A very little one that I went, oh, okay. Didn't see that coming. That was
Is it
was
with
nice.
the person in the cupboard?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, I kind of guessed that when I saw the person wearing pink and everything, and I'm like, well, I know who that person is.
No, see, I did, yeah. That bit, I thought that was odd, and I went, there's something up with that, but I didn't quite connect the dots. So there was a little tiny, oh, okay, there you go, that makes sense.
Now that we're talking about it, I just want to get into spoilers, actually. So,
See, yeah, it's too late though. Got to be sensible. So yeah, and then it finished, and then I sat in the cinema, and the credits started rolling, and it was all the actors and all the people that were involved drawn up like Pokemon style, which was a nice touch. And I sat back and went, oh, I don't know if I enjoyed that. And my brain went, it's a kid's film. That film is not for you. It's a shame it didn't hit on all the notes, but take it at face value. And face value, I'm with you. It's a bit meh, but overall, it's enjoyable.
I think, kids will love this film, and people who are like hardcore Pokemon, they'll just they won't care about.
I think hardcore Pokemon fans are pissed off by it.
Oh.
I've got a bunch of people in my circles, my social circles, that would just.
Could you have
film was crap.
more than one circle?
I have many.
What's that like?
It's pretty good.
I barely got like an arch.
I got a semicircle. And I know a lot of people that were not happy with it, but I think a lot of people are doing what we started here, and they've bigged this film up already to. This is our film. Pokemon's for everyone. And
this is going to be the greatest video game movie of all time.
And it's a shame it didn't do that, but it wasn't for.
Do you know what the annoying thing is? Is it had the elements to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you just tear that entire plot out and write actually a good plot, get Justice Smith out of there.
Mm-hmm.
Get a better kind of leading character that can play off of
and a better sidekick. The lead female was just rubbish.
She was there to play plucky female.
Rubbish. She was rubbish.
Yeah,
and that's I'm for all our dear listeners, you'll know that I'm always the one that will advocate for women having more roles in films. But she was she was crap. She was so bad.
I mean, let's be honest. All of the real life actors in this movie are crap, and all of the and then just Ryan Reynolds, who plays a fucking CGI Pikachu, is the most lifelike thing in the entire movie.
So I'm with you. It unfortunately didn't hold up to all my hopes and dreams. But I came out of it. I enjoyed it. I dragged in a few places, and
it's not bad. It's not a bad film. It's enjoyable. If it shows up on Netflix, it's a great film to chuck on and just watch and enjoy. Laugh along. Like the mime stuff.
Yeah.
That was the best part of the whole movie for me, even though I thought the trailer had ruined it, blah, blah. Then I watched it, I was like, this is hilarious, and it gets even funnier. It goes to a really, dark place. I was like, I'm surprised this got into the movie, but it's fucking funny.
And it does raise the question of why is Mr. Mime being treated like an animal? That's clearly a human being that was...
I mean, with the way this plot goes, okay, I don't know how to explain it. I'm not going to spoil anything, but how this plot ends and what the big bad guy's plan is so idiotic and nonsensical that I was just sitting there and I'd stopped engaging and experiencing the movie and just started thinking about what the fuck is this ending plot do? Like, what is happening? And then I'm like, none of this makes sense. This is so idiotic.
It's one of those endings of a movie. It's one of those bad guy plots that the moment you go, wait a minute, if he just started selling that?
Yeah, if you think about it just a wee bit, you're like, this...
Well, I just think any bad guy plot where if you would pay for it as a service, it's not a bad guy plot. The only reason it was a bad guy plot is because he was enforcing it. But if I lived in that world, I'd go, hey man, I will pay you top dollar for what you are putting out. And he'd be like, no, the whole world must be like, no, fuck the whole world. I've got a bunch of friends. All of us want that. I don't know why you're trying to make this like a big evil scheme. I'll do it willingly.
It's so bizarre.
And my final criticism, my final moan is there was 55 Pokemon that they made up for the real world, Rhyme City. And the whole film, that is not a problem. The whole film, that works, and it's a non-issue. And then right at the end of the film, there's a scene where it zooms out from the street, and you see a whole bunch of Pokemon. And I think it was only, kind of literally the last 10, 50 minutes where I was watching it and went, oh man, that looks awful, because it's just quite clearly the same copy and pasted 8 Pokemon all over. And it just became very obvious that it wasn't a living world, it was a CGI world, and they just needed filler.
I guess you have to think that maybe the Pokemon company didn't want to give them all over because they wanted to keep some for...
No, I get that. It was more just the fact that they wanted to have as many Pokemon on screen as possible, but because they only had rights, and I think, maybe it was only...
Or maybe it's more just a logistical side of like, it took so much time to get those 55 kind of made and generated and working.
No, exactly. But that's it. The fact it's 55 is not a problem. The film deals with that. It was just the final scene, because it wasn't all 55. It was about 10 of them, and there was just about 15 of each of them on screen, and it just looked really odd because it was the same one. You know what I mean? It's just loads of the same.
It's like watching an Illumination movie where they literally just copy and paste.
Exactly.
Because they have no talent or credibility or love for the craft.
Sorry, just going back to your Mr. Mime comment. There's a scene in the Pokemon cartoon where Ash's mum has a Mr. Mime, but she makes him eat on the floor out of a dog bowl. But Ash has got Pikachu, who's tiny and is just an animal eating out of the bowl, like a cat would. And then there's another Pokemon, I can't remember what it is, but which is also tiny, is happy eating off the floor. And Mr. Mime's sitting cross-legged with human fingers just...
It's a dark universe.
It's weird. It's proper weird.
Although what I never knew I wanted, but this movie is now showing to me that I really want this, is a buddy cop film where it's just Detective Pikachu and Psyduck just on adventures together.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Because those two in the back of that car, I just want that for the rest of my life. Just watching those two, just watching Ryan Reynolds spout out hilarious line after hilarious line while Psyduck just looks at him
a bomb
and says Psyduck, and then every so often might blow up. It's that and the Mr. Mime stuff, so good in that film.
Right, film number 2.
Film number 2 is...
Let's keep this crazy train rolling.
Is Tolkien.
Didn't see it. Wait, Pokemon movie, rating out of 10. 1 being bad, 10 being good.
Well, I'm not giving ratings.
Very good. Okay. I'm going to go with a solid... I'm going to go with a 5. Pretty middling.
Here's what we'll do. You give your ratings, I'll give recommendation or not recommendation. And I'll recommend Detective Pikachu, but not necessarily rush out the cinema for it. Wait till it shows up on like Netflix or Blu-ray or something like that, and maybe pick it up then.
You always got to be difficult.
recommendation, or I've recommended the film. There we go.
All right.
Next, we are talking about Tolkien.
Yeah, I didn't see it. Not my cup of tea at all. War film about.
It's not a war film.
War film about Tolkien.
It's not a war film.
Who wrote Lord of the Rings? Meh.
No.
The trailers made it look like a war film.
Well, okay, so it begins his childhood, but it's Tolkien at his time as a commander during World War One, but at a very bad time, and so he's kind of running.
It doesn't sound like a war film. You're right. So far,
Would
what you
you
described
would you
is
pause? Would
the
you
opposite.
maybe maybe out of this 2-hour film, a total of 10 minutes of that is set during the World War One segment.
Yeah, Pearl Harbor's the same.
Pearl Harbor is at least 4,900 minutes of war film nonsense.
Pearl Harbor was
3 hours long.
And it was 2.5 hours of people talking to each other, and then 10 minutes of explosions and 20 minutes of credits.
I'm not going to defend Pearl Harbor. It's a shit film. And Michael Bay directed
But
it.
that's still a war film.
It's not a war film. Anyway,
Pearl Harbor's a war film.
Pearl Harbor's a war film. Tolkien ain't a war film.
Yeah, it looked like a war film.
What? Shut up! Anyway, Tolkien. Of all the films we're going to talk about in the list, I would say this is the best one. Because,
really?
Yeah. The story... Audio Boy, did you see Tolkien?
I did.
Oh, good. So I'm going to be able to talk off of you. I would say Tolkien is the most heartfelt, personal, and emotive film on this list. Nicholas Hoult continues to just be a tremendous, not only leading man, but just actor in general. Before Robert Pattinson got the role of Batman, he was apparently the front runner to take the role. I would have been okay with that. The story that it tells of Tolkien's origin, I know that it's marred in some controversy because the Tolkien estate didn't have like sign off on it, but I still feel that the story it tells is a very beautiful one, and I've never been a fan of Tolkien's writing, but this film actually made me interested to go back and give those books another go, just because of the way he thought about language, the way he treated language, and just the way language and poetry and those such things played such an important part. But then also I hated when they did it in the trailer because I thought it was cheesy, but it works in the film when he refers to his group of friends as a fellowship. And the relationship between him and his three friends and the journey they go on is so beautiful. And the way it ends is so heartbreaking. And it also helped further my interest in going back to read those Lord of the Rings books, because knowing that that's what inspired his stories makes it all the more kind of moving to me. And that's why I feel like when Tolkien finished, I was holding back being a blubbering mess, just especially like when the final scene where like Tolkien's speaking to one of his friends' mothers and stuff, and it's like, it crushes your heart, but it's so beautiful. And it's like, and the film itself is gorgeous to look at. Like, you're obviously not a war film fan, but some of the stuff that happens during World War One when Tolkien's in a terrible state of mind and he's not doing very well, and they have like dragons and all that kind of stuff that kind of shows like he's losing his sense of reality. It's just gorgeous to look at. It's a very beautiful film that I think people should see and enjoy.
It's interesting that you do say that though, because it's getting panned.
Well, I think that's
everywhere.
Okay.
No, I'm just curious. Like, I'm curious as to why everyone else seems to think it's shit.
Because they probably thought, like the trailers show, it's going to be some big fantasy infused action adventure film.
I didn't think any of the trailers showed that. I thought the trailer showed it was going to be a war film about Tolkien's life, which just dragged for me, which is why I didn't bother with it. But yeah, it's just,
Maybe people just don't have a heart. Maybe I have a heart.
That might be it. That might be the simple answer to that, although I doubt it.
Hey. So, in summary, do you have anything you'd like to say about Tolkien?
I can kind of see where people are coming from a bit, in that, like, it was good. I enjoyed it. I feel like Gavin is maybe bigging it up a little more than it deserves, because like all the war stuff was really good, and all the sort of his younger life and things, it was interesting. It just, it wasn't. It never really caught me that emotionally.
It did
particular.
from the trailers for me. It looked like a regular biopic.
Because it felt like he chose a certain life and he never really got the consequences of that. I don't want to go further down that line without spoiling anything. Yeah.
Just become the hero of his own story after some trials and tribulations. Well, that sounds like a regular old movie biopic.
Yeah.
I just feel the story it tells is quite touching.
Well, I'm sure it does.
And it handles it well.
But all biopics do. That's the whole point of it.
No, they don't.
Of a
They really don't.
cutter biopic.
They really don't.
Yeah, but any cookie cutter biopic that's as far as I'm concerned that's not doing the job well is, hey, look at our hero. Our hero has some trials and tribulations, but don't worry, he gets out at the end okay, and here's why he's the hero.
Okay.
And that's what you're saying this film comes out like, to a degree.
Yeah. I feel like with the tone of the whole movie, for how long it goes on and things, like, I feel like it wasn't warranted to be like, oh, he's still, like, yeah, I don't know.
I would.
That wasn't very coherent, was it?
That's all right. I get it.
I would recommend Tolkien. Give it a watch.
Mm-hmm.
Check it out.
I haven't seen it, so 0 out of 1. 0 out of 10 for me. But that's based off of I haven't seen it. So a 0 is a non-rating.
I think you'd like it.
0 is a non-rating.
Again, I think by this point it'll be out of the cinema by the time this episode goes up.
I think it is.
But again, when it shows up on one of your streaming services or whatever, give it a watch.
I probably will.
I think
and you know what? I probably won't.
I know you won't. But the people out there listening, I'd say give it a watch.
It's also, I should point out, as someone who's never seen any of the Lord of the Rings films or The Hobbit or anything like this, it's okay.
It's probably the only
You don't
reason
have to be all clued up on
see, that's
the Lord
the
of the
only
Rings
reason I
kind
would
of
have gone
thing.
and seen it is if it was a Lord of the Rings film. But I don't know. I think I'm weird in this sense, though. I don't give a shit about the people behind stories. I like the stories. I like Lord of the Rings.
I mean, for me, it depends on the people.
I couldn't give a shit where Lord of the Rings came from. It exists now. Great. Who wrote it? A man named J.R.R. Tolkien.
But then, like I
Whatever.
was saying, the story that it told helped inform more my interest in the Lord of the Rings further, because looking at the characters in the Fellowship and then looking at the life of Tolkien and how that went on to inspire those characters, give those characters more meaning for me personally when I think about it.
Yeah. But then, I don't know. The same thing happens with Rocketman, which we'll get into.
Will we?
I just don't know. I just never trust a fucking biopic anyway.
Well, yeah, that's the point I made earlier. It's like the Tolkien estate has didn't sign off in this film, so
So it could just be
this film
bullshit.
could easily take liberties. I'm not personally aware of that, so that's on me to do further research. But the story this film told, I enjoyed.
Cool. Next film.
Next film.
We have 3 left.
On the list, we have
All
3 left. So the next one is probably one the majority of people listening to this won't have seen or won't have heard of.
No, we know
But-
6 left.
but-
No, 3, 4 left.
Yes, we've got 4 left.
4 left.
We should get fucking on
We
this.
gotta start. We gotta
Well,
start.
we'll fire through this
powering
next
through.
one very quickly.
because it's shit.
It's not good. It's a movie called High Life, starring Robert Pattinson, the new Batman, and without a doubt, he is the best part about this film.
Only, as far as I'm concerned, the only good thing about this film.
No, I would say some of the aesthetic choices of the film and some of the atmosphere at points and the score is good.
Okay, sorry. Apologies. I agree actually on all 3 of those fronts. I just don't consider those things when because I think it's a weird conversation actually. When I'm watching a film, I don't think about these things because I'm not meant to. If a film's doing its job, I shouldn't really notice any of that stuff. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So,
But
like, you're right. The spaceship, the atmosphere, the music all contributes to it.
Also,
And I liked it. So actually, yeah, I would probably moan about it. I'd bring it up myself if I was like, yeah, it was shit. Didn't look good. The locations were terrible. You know what I mean? If it was bad, but if it's good. So yeah, I'm agreeing with you actually. Sorry.
but yeah, I just feel like the problem with High Life
Little
is
brain fart there.
it tries real hard to be. You could easily just take your shoes off. I don't know what the trouble is. You're just making your life more uncomfortable by keeping the shoes
I'm
on.
going to put them back on, and I'm bad at laces. So
If you're bad, okay.
I'll do your laces if you want, Gary.
no, it's fine. I'll just keep my shoes on.
Yeah, so the big problem with High Life is it's a movie that thinks it tries to be something more than it is. It tries to have this kind of really nuanced and deep kind of theme or themes.
It's
plural.
totally trying to go for the look how intelligent and pretentious and wanky we are.
Why do you have to be so? Why do you have to be so negative in your adjective choice?
There are multiple films in the world, and this definitely comes under the pretentious, wanky category.
I think it's just a film that's confused as to what it wanted to do or be.
Yeah, it wanted to be a pretentious, wanky film.
It didn't want to, no one.
It did. Of course it did. It wanted to be this art house. Oh, think about the themes we're putting to you. Sexuality, murder.
Well, no, because
That sounds all right. Not gonna lie.
Humanity.
no. The interesting. Well, what I took from this film is it was trying to comment on how integral to our species procreation and birth is, but also how we look upon and treat sex, and then trying to bring those two elements together into a film.
This sounds like my ideal film.
But no, because it goes about it in such a backwards, terrible way to the point where you're just like, you're not lost, you just don't care. Whereas like it introduces you to a whole group of characters. You're like, I don't like any of these people. I don't care about any of these people, and I don't want to see them interact with each other because all of them are just awful people to watch interact.
And then the film doesn't let them. The film
Yeah.
gives them absolutely no room to do anything because they're all strapped to beds for 90% of the time.
And it fully just focuses on the sexual aspect and the birth aspect, and doesn't make any effort to build them its world or its characters out into anything more than just there's
I
literally
wouldn't even go as far as to say it gives it the birth element at all. It's so focused on sex, but with no focal
but the
point.
whole outcome of the sex is so to get the woman pregnant, so as they can test do these experiments in space about what.
Yeah, but it's not sex. It's because we got to artificially inseminate.
Yeah, but and then it has that weird like
Sex box.
but then
I'm agreeing with you because the element of Robert Pattinson with the kid is so disjointed from the artificial insemination storyline. They almost have nothing in common bar Robert Pattinson.
Yeah, it's so bizarre. Like the film starts in the middle with Robert Pattinson and the baby, and it's a very quiet, melancholy, slow feeling
The beginning of the film had me excited.
It's very atmospheric. Like
Pattinson's performance is great. He's so
Pattinson's-
natural with the baby.
Yeah, because he's not doing anything. He's just, but he's still holding your attention. He's just got this kind of draw on the screen, and it's not posing questions, but you're thinking of questions like what's happening, blah blah, and it's kind of pulling you in, and then it just cuts to why, like it cuts back in time to a previous point where like here's what happened and here's how we got here, and immediately just it turns into this like, I don't know, kind of dirty, overly sexual, grotesque, rape-filled film. You're just like, oh, no, I don't. This is with people that I hated, all of them, and I knew I knew it was going to happen to them because the film shows me what happens to all those characters. So I'm like, well, I'm not going to invest because I know what happened to them, and I don't want to invest because they're just so awful. All of these people.
And then as far as the film story goes, it makes zero sense.
Yeah,
They get strapped to beds at night because they're criminals and they're not allowed like agency, except at one point where this guy isn't strapped to a bed and then goes and rapes a woman.
I guess we should give some context.
Wonderful.
We should give some context. So just a brief plot of the film.
Yeah, this one needs
Is
it because it's probably the weird outlier.
We probably should have done this when we started talking about the film because we've said a lot of stuff that doesn't make sense. But you can always, while listening to this, open up your IMDb, type in High Life, and read a plot synopsis. But anyway,
Yeah, listeners, do your own fucking work.
sorry. So yeah, scientists send out a bunch of spaceships, and each one on them is conducting its own experiment to see what happens when life interacts with space. And on the spaceship we're on, which is like Spaceship 6, I think.
Yeah, sounds about right.
It's to kind of look at the effects of someone being impregnated
Celibacy.
and then giving birth to a baby
In a celibate
space.
environment, though.
Yeah,
There's no sex allowed.
no sex allowed. And so yeah, that's kind of a brief plot of what the film is. And all the people on this ship are
Convicts.
who were on death row.
And they got told that they would be vindicated on their return back to Earth, but then they were lied to. They're never coming back. They're heading towards a black hole.
Yeah.
Somebody gets spaghettified halfway through. Best bit of the film.
No, but
I mean, that bit was pretty cool.
but yeah, the problem with the film ultimately is it just doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't.
it's
it,
crap.
it has these ideas. It has its themes. It tries to. No, it doesn't even try to explore them. And then it just goes, Well, I guess the film's over now and ends. You're
No,
like,
no, no,
"Whoa,
no.
whoa."
Before ending, it goes, and now we're going to do the 2001 Space Odyssey ending, where we're going to give you this seminal sci-fi bullshit, and you've got to make up your own mind about what it means. Except it was crap,
And unlike
and it didn't mean anything.
and unlike 2001 Space Odyssey, it said nothing.
Yeah.
It did not. It's just like, oh, okay. And so all you're left with is Robert Pattinson just being. But then he disappears in the middle section of the film. So you're just like.
1 out of 10.
So I would definitely not recommend High Life.
1 out of 10.
Would do not see it.
1 being bad, 10 being. I know I've said that. I'll
Yeah.
continue it. That scale will stay forever now.
So
Do you reckon I should do half points?
No.
Because then it's basically a 20-point system. Isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, we could just get rid of the points altogether.
I like this. I like the scaling system.
I know you do.
3 more films.
Next, on
Film
our,
numero 40.
Next on our list is the film Aladdin.
Aladdin.
So you want to talk about Aladdin now?
Aladdin.
Okay.
A whole new world. Don't you dare close your eyes. Aladdin in the style of a 90s rock song.
Well, that interpretation of Aladdin was better than anything that happened in that movie.
Why do you hate it so much?
I don't hate it. It much like Dumbo or The Jungle Book or any of these live-action Disney remakes, it just caused nothing within me whatsoever.
Did you not like The Jungle Book?
I enjoyed The Jungle Book, but I then came out of The Jungle Book and went, well, that's a film that I watched. It was enjoyable.
I mean, I'm with you in
I
the
came out of
sense.
Dumbo being like, that was a nothing movie. And I came out of Aladdin going like, that was not enjoyable. There was nothing to that movie.
Aladdin is way better than Dumbo.
Oh, it definitely is. It definitely...
Right, so I enjoyed Aladdin.
Aladdin is definitely better than Dumbo, but
I-
that's not saying anything.
I
I
genuinely
took a
enjoyed
shit
Aladdin.
this morning that was better than fucking Dumbo. So I don't know what you want to say about
And
Aladdin.
I'm with that film. Dumbo, more like... I've been trying to remember this one bit of Dumbo, which was... You remember when he gets laughed at the first time by the crowd, and they bring him out as Dear Baby Jumbo? Oh, is that what it is? I've been trying to remember this for weeks, and then the cart gets juggled a little bit or knocked, and then the D falls off, and the B... No, where's the B come from? Dear Baby...
It's Jumbo. Yeah.
But how does the B get from there to there? Anyway, and then it turns into...
What do you mean? How does it get from where to where? Jumbo and Dumbo.
Jumbo. It's the D, isn't it?
Jumbo, Dumbo.
Dear Baby
Yes.
Jumbo. Big Ear Dumbo. That was... the reason I laughed and I love that bit so much is purely because someone in the... I'm trying to think what department it would be.
The whole assembly line of making the movie.
Probably all of it. Yeah, somewhere in production they went, oh, we should get the sign that says Big Ear Dumbo. But how why would they have that if his name's Jumbo at the beginning? Oh, wait, no, I've got it. It breaks.
Like, Steve, you're a genius. You figured it out.
Oh, my God. Wow.
We got to get this to Tim. Tim's going to love it.
So look, it said, Dear Baby Jumbo, and then it breaks, and now it says Big Ear Dumbo. That's how he gets his name, Dumbo. Look at that.
And then it just like, there's silence as Tim Burton, he just stands there and he's thinking like, I used to fuck Helena Bonham Carter. And then...
While Johnny Depp watched.
And then like everyone sounds like, he's not said it. No, what's he thinking? And he goes, yeah, why not? Fuck it.
Yeah, why not? And then someone up the back does a slow clap.
It's Johnny Depp. He's like, hey, Tim, can I be in your movie? He's like, you're the fucking elephant, John. Put on the weird suit that Andy Serkis likes to wear and be the elephant. So, okay,
Yeah, you're going to
Tim,
be our mute elephant.
if that's what you want me to be,
Johnny
Tim, I'll
Depp,
do that.
That's it.
And there's just a scene of like Dumbo walking around like fucking Captain Jack Sparrow going, where's the rum gone?
The amount of... I never understand why Benedict Cumberbatch did as much as he did for Smaug.
I know, I love watching those behind the scenes videos.
Because I would understand it if he was in the green suit and he had all those little balls on him, ping pong balls, and he was sitting at a desk acting to
Yeah.
a camera. But the video I seen is him
on a table.
like on all fours, real low to the ground, going. "Arr."
And then it cuts to like one of the VFX guys like sitting behind the monitor going, yeah, he try not to press this. Like, yeah, we told him that that we needed him like to move around like dragon.
We told him it was mocap.
Fucking idiot.
It's not just facial recognition.
Cumberbatch walks over and says, oh, how was that, guys? And they're like, great, Ben.
Oh,
great,
so
great
good.
work.
Bennett, what's the best one? Because you can pretty much say his name however you want, and
Benner Squatch. at Cumbermunch.
Yeah, and everyone knows what you're talking about.
Oh yeah,
Wimbledon tennis match.
sure, sure. I'll let that happen.
That's a good one, right? Like that. You knew what I meant.
So do you know what all this conversation tells me? Aladdin isn't worth talking about.
Aladdin is good.
'Cause
You
it's
threw
not
me
good.
off. I liked Aladdin.
Oh yeah, I threw you off.
I genuinely liked. I liked Aladdin. Jafar was god awful.
They
No-
cast the plainest man.
He considering, and this is where it comes. I think you mentioned this previously. This is where it comes down to when a film's animated, they can draw someone villainous, and
Yeah.
you know he's villainous from the beginning because Jafar has a gigantic triangular head. He's all
it's
angles,
sharp,
Yeah.
pointy, seems evil.
and he looks evil, and he comes across, and then you give him this menacing voice, and it's great. And then in the film, he's just a guy.
He's just a guy with
Just and like
bit of beard and
how
some
old
short
was he
hair.
as well? 30?
I'd say, yeah.
Younger? I felt
was thinking like
mid-20s.
I was thinking like 28 or something.
and
just
that's
some
not
guy.
He should be older. He should be
Charles Dance.
Charles Dance.
Every time I watch the trailer for
Sorry, I got
God,
this
I
is
know.
such a great idea. That was so
you
good.
just like you echoed in this room.
because that's you are 100% right. If you replace that guy with Charles Dance,
Yeah, but then you
Charles
can't do that
Charles
because
Dance?
then the people cry whitewash.
Yeah,
So,
it's fair.
Which is fair.
So
And you have
anyway,
Jonathan Van Ness as the genie as well.
You really just
yeah.
keep pushing this.
I could recast Aladdin and it'd be great.
Philip showed me who this Jonathan Van Ness person is, and I was just like, nah.
Nah,
Nah.
wasn't
Not for me.
digging it.
Nah.
So Jafar, crap.
Here's the thing-
I fully agree on that.
The thing
point.
with the other aspect of Jafar that didn't work is one, the actor was bland, and maybe he's a good actor. I would like to see him in some other projects and see what he's like because I don't want to just fully judge his abilities
I already
in this one
have.
film. That's because
if
you're,
I ever see him anywhere,
you're a bad person.
that's crap Jafar.
But the other thing with Jafar
Tainting
in
another
this film
film.
is the film just doesn't do a great job of ever making his motivation clear. Like in the animated
Yeah.
film, you're like, this is Jafar, this is what he wants, and he's evil.
He
So
wants to be the Sultan.
it comes
and,
across
and
the
I
screen.
think that's it. It's his goal and ambition seems really single-mindedly clear. Granted, it's not the biggest, most evil plan,
No.
but they make it very clear he wants to be Sultan because he's power hungry. Whereas in this one, he wants to be Sultan, but kind of. He's
Yeah,
all right with
because
it.
there's that scene of like, oh, I don't want to be second. I've built up from being a thief to this, and it's like, okay,
Yeah,
and why do I care? Oh wait, I don't. Okay,
you're
cool.
being friendly there. So yeah, Jafar was crap. I'm going to put this in order of things I enjoyed. Next up, so this is second least.
This
and
is
of
going to
the
be
big
in
things.
order of things I didn't enjoy. Then
So Aladdin is the main character. He was also a bit meh. He wasn't
He-
as bad as Jafar, but he also didn't feel like a lead man.
I've got Jafar's filmography in front of me here, and I can confirm he's not been in any good films.
give me
Nor
like,
will he.
some of his-
Murder on the Orient Express.
That's a good film.
No, what?
He had a
the
very small
2000
part in it.
The 2018 version.
17, yeah.
The Kenneth Branagh one. Is it
Was
the
it?
Is
What Happened to Monday?
Oh, what? With Rooney Mara.
Yeah.
That film was weird. I
The
seen
Mummy. Ben-Hur.
Oh yeah,
Accused,
fucking Ben-Hur and the
Wolf.
Mummy. Oof.
Yeah.
And we're talking about the Tom Cruise Mummy, not the masterpiece of Brendan Fraser's The Mummy.
that. We do love Brendan Fraser.
we do love Brendan Fraser in this podcast. Shout out to Brendan Fraser. Yeah, I was gonna say the actor who played Aladdin was charismatic at points on screen. Like I'd say, like in the first act, when it's mainly him, he comes across as quite charming, quite charismatic. But of course, when Will Smith comes along, he kind of fades away to the point where I forgot it was the Aladdin film at times because Will Smith as the genie obviously stands out because of Will Smith, and then Jasmine stands out much more as well.
Yeah, because they've made Jasmine a character. They've given Jasmine an arc, and they've made her an actual character. And that's, I mean, we're jumping ahead now to the other two main characters. So for me, it then goes Genie, and Genie is in that camp for me of I thought I was gonna despise that. Everything I'd seen up to that point was just making me, and maybe this helped because I had such low expectations, and I went in and I went, that's enjoyable. I mean, it doesn't hold a candle to Robin Williams, and it can't. And again, because it's not fully animated, and they tone down the genie being all pop culture reference and zipping about and doing a bunch of magic all the time. They've toned all that down, so it's not quite what I
Now
wanted.
he just raps.
Now he just raps, but I did enjoy it way more than I thought I was going to enjoy it.
I would say I enjoyed the genie when he was just being the genie and kind of bantering back and forth with Aladdin.
When he was blue, basically when he was blue genie or regular human genie.
When they were bantering,
Yeah.
they had good banter. Like the best scene in the entire movie is when he shows up as Prince Ali and he's talking about jams. And
Yeah,
like,
it's good.
And the genie's been like, you're like
Leave the jams, man.
10,000 years, and that's the most embarrassed I've ever been. Blah blah blah. But when any time the genie starts singing, or when anyone in this film starts singing, the songs are awful.
Yeah.
And Will Smith can't hold a tune. No one can hold a tune in this film. Jasmine can't hold a tune. Aladdin can't hold a tune. I'm so fucking glad they didn't make the fucking blandest man on the planet, Jafar, sing.
I think this might be a problem with Disney though, because Beauty and the Beast did it. I've heard Emma Watson's behind the scenes songs, and Emma Watson did like a good job, right? She wasn't stage. This is her career levels, but she did a decent job. But you watch Beauty and the Beast, and she's auto-tuned to fuckery.
Yeah, but in that film they have Audra McDonald, who has one of the greatest voices of all time.
Yeah.
This was like, I think they had better singers in Beauty and the Beast as a whole.
Yeah, but they still auto-tuned pretty much fucking everything. And then in this one, I think this is onto the point. I think they didn't have quite as good singers, and I think they're so worried about these songs not sounding Disney perfect that they go too far with it. They auto-tune it to the point where everyone can hear the auto-tune, which is like cardinal sin of auto-tuning. So, and it is a problem.
And anytime it flew into one of the musical numbers, I was just like, this is so bad. It's just like,
See,
I mean, the choreography and stuff was great. With dancing and like, because I
can kind of get on board.
That
with
scene we've talked about in the previous episode where it's like Prince Ali first shows up for the first time. It's shot terribly.
Yeah.
It looks terrible, but the choreography of the dancing and the way it falls in tune with the beat of the music is it gets your wee shoulders a bobbing. It's quite nice, but everything else about that scene is just like, it just looks like cardboard.
Gavin, 90 years old. It gets your shoulders a bopping.
Shoulders bobbing.
Wow.
Hey kids, I went to see the Aladdin and my shoulders was jiving around.
Get out to see it, kids. But yeah, just the film.
So I will give you this though. You mentioned when we watched that side-by-side clip that it was shot completely differently from the animated one.
Yeah.
Not the animated was shot, but the angles they chose to use.
Yeah.
And I will give you 100% throughout that film, they missed the key factor of that anytime you are watching it and you're seeing it from basically Aladdin's point of view, everything is meant to seem grandiose and massive. And that's why it's all these low angles. But in that film, you do not get a single...
They just film head on.
Yeah.
And there's just...
top down.
Or top down, and the sets just look so nothing, and a lot of the costumes just look so ugh. And then the movie just as a like that's the only thing I would give Dumbo over Aladdin, is Dumbo was at times nice to look at. That scene when he first goes to the circus and you see the big pig elephants, that scene still stands out every so often. It doesn't actually stand out at all to me. Only when I was thinking about Aladdin does that scene stand out to me. But when I think about Aladdin, there's not a single scene in that movie that I thought was visually enticing to look at. Not a single moment. And
So
the genie
yeah.
just looks... It looked really bad in the trailers, and I thought, oh, it can't look that in the final film. It looks better in the final film, but still doesn't look great, because the uncanny valley, when Will Smith goes from blue to him being a regular human, just throws me off every time.
It's too much his face. It's one of those... They should have gone weirder with it. If the big CGI blue genie looked weirder, and then when he came to Will Smith, he's like, this is my human look. All right, cool. I can get behind that.
Just
but given
a quick wee explanation, boom, done.
Because in the animated version, if the genie came down to a human but kept the genie's big bulbous chin and face, he would look like a monster. But you're okay with it because he's a mythical, you know what I mean, mythical being. Yeah, I'm with you. So don't get me wrong. It's not like it's not like I'm saying this is the best live action Disney. I did enjoy it, but I do agree that it still has issues, and it's still in that realm of like, why?
But for me, the issues piled up to a point, and it caused no emotional resurgency within me, that I was just like, what's the point in this film? Why would I recommend people go watch this film when they could go watch a far better and more enjoyable animated version that came out many years ago? It's like, what is the point in this film? I don't get it.
So
it's the same with Dumbo. It's the same with Jungle Book,
tricky though,
and The Lion King as well.
But then it is weird because we're in a different point with cinema. This is kind of getting into the realms of why they're doing this, because
I guess
did watch Aladdin.
make these
I
films for a
can't.
new generation.
It is for a new generation, exactly. And because of that, I did watch Aladdin fairly recently, right? Not for the film, but I watched it.
For the context of,
I think maybe
seeing-
like 2 months ago. I
Yeah.
think I was just in the mood to watch it. And it's a great film, and I obviously have a huge amount of nostalgia for it. But watching a lot of these Disney films now, a lot of them are so slow paced. And that's just the way films were made back then. That's not a criticism of the movie.
Yes.
But I can fully understand why, if I watched that with if I had a 2, 3-year-old, 4-year-old niece, and they were watching it, they would be bored because their little minds are used to iPhones and all sorts.
YouTube
So
videos
it's-
where people just jump cut.
That
through-
instant
into-
gratification, So I can kind of understand why they're doing it, and I get
Yeah.
that's why it. But then it means that when we're watching, and same with Pokemon Detective Pikachu, actually had the exact same problem. The
I'm
pacing
using its
was
full title.
rapid,
Oh yeah, that movie does not stop.
doesn't stop, and
Like,
I
I
it's
guess like
the same thing.
up until Pikachu shows up, it takes a wee bit of time. But the minute Pikachu shows up and the minute Aladdin shows up, boom, those fucking films are going,
Yeah,
and they
yeah,
do
yeah.
not stop.
Totally.
But the only thing I would say about this Aladdin for kids is, I mean, I don't know what in this new Aladdin is going to fucking engage kids, because they don't know who Will Smith is, nor do they care who Will Smith is.
Yeah.
This film isn't exactly the most visually popping or exciting film to look at. The songs are shite, and
Yeah,
it's
but the
just
songs
like,
are the same, aren't they?
and then the whole
No, there's new ones.
Well, there's one new one,
Thanks to Pasek and Paul.
Jasmine's new song.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's the only one. Whole New World, Friend Like Me, the Agrabah song at the beginning.
yeah, but I'm just like, but what we were saying earlier, just like the songs
Arabian
don't,
Nights.
the
Arabian
songs
Nights.
don't sound
There's
good.
another one as well, wasn't there?
I don't know. Is
Sort
there?
of like that chase scene bit.
One step ahead of the bad. Dun,
Oh yeah.
dun, 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 dun.
So there's only
Otherwise
one
we
new
get
song.
along.
I just don't see this being a film that kids be like, oh, it's amazing.
I do totally because and I do because I know you didn't enjoy it. I know there's a lot of elements that you didn't enjoy. Pointing
Again-
at Gavin and audio were respectively
Again,
for our listeners.
it's not that I didn't enjoy it. It's just it didn't do anything.
But
for
then
me.
I know loads of people that did enjoy it. Like I know more people that have come at
Dave.
that film saying they enjoyed. Davey, Hannah, a few other friends of mine.
Your mum.
I know. Honestly, I know more people that say they enjoyed that film than didn't enjoy the film. A lot of people are saying that Jasmine's songs are crap, which I didn't. Maybe it's just me. I watched it.
The
It didn't-
sentiment was definitely in the right place. However, just there's something about Pasek and Paul in general
Yeah.
that the songs that they come out with are just really kind of contrived. I
Yeah.
think.
I think.
I
That's
mean,
why they're-
shots fired.
That's
there.
why they're perfect for Disney then.
Yeah.
in agreement with you, I did what like when that song came on. My first thought was, "Oh wow, I'm going to listen to this on repeat." It was, "Oh, they're trying to do Frozen, cool. They're trying to get a big, powerful female solo." Meh. You know what I mean? I wasn't swept up in it.
And
I had a thought about why it's
the ac-
emulating something
The
else.
actress that
It's
plays her
great.
certainly does a good job delivering it.
Yeah.
And she's probably
And that's
one of the strong performances.
there you go. So my final point on it, final main character. She was phenomenal. She was the best bit.
I would
of the
not
whole
use the
film.
word phenomenal. I
I
would
would.
say she is.
Best bit of the whole film.
She's good enough in a film that doesn't do anything. She stands out as an actress. I'm like, she has presence on screen. She that presence comes across, especially when. But then again, that's not difficult when she's acting across from fucking Jafar, the plank of wood
Yeah.
man.
Even the Sultan. and
it's
a
like,
handmaiden.
Again, the
handmaiden.
actor they got to play the father is so good, and he just plays.
Yeah.
We didn't play anything. He has nothing.
That was one of the characters that they made big changes to, which I didn't agree with. Because in the original, he's this fuddery old man who
Yeah.
loves his daughter, but kind of doesn't seem suited to run a country, and
Yeah.
that's why it works. Jafar's managing to corrupt his mind and trick him, pull the wool over him, and Jasmine's getting frustrated with him. But in this one, he seems perfectly capable.
Yeah, he seems like I'm so confused. It's like, why do you like? Oh, I'm mumbling my words, but at the end, he's just like, I can't be Sultan. You should be Sultan.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but why?
Why can't you do it?
She's done nothing to suggest she should be Sultan, and you've done nothing to suggest you shouldn't be Sultan. This is just because you want it to end with her being Sultan.
Yeah, I do agree with you on that one because it definitely felt more earned in the original than it did at the end of this one, especially with the stuff of Jasmine. Oh, remember what Mother said, that we're only as happy as our poorest or our most unhappy citizen. And in the original, you kind of get the idea that it's not that he's a bad sultan. He's just fuddery and
Yeah.
old and wants to play with his toys and kind of wants to retire but needs a male heir.
Pretty much
Is trapped by it. Whereas in this, it feels like he's the one going, no, you know what I mean? Like, no, I'm saying you have to marry because it's not just the rules, it's also what I think. And then by the end of it, he goes, oh, no, maybe we can change the rules.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've listened to Hamilton, but there's a line in that which comes to mind when it's like, oh, yeah, why would I let the man who ran against me be my vice president? You know what? I'm going to change that. And Aaron's like, what do you mean? And he's like, because I'm the president. It's like, yeah, you are. You're the sultan. Just do whatever the fuck you want. Like, you want Jasmine to be the queen sultan? I don't know the name of it. Sultana, I think it is. I think no. Genuinely
is a fruit.
Yeah, no. Look that up. I'm pretty sure a female sultan is a sultana.
God,
I've said that twice now, and now it suddenly seems less.
Yeah, especially because mine and Audio Boy's reactions to it are just like, I don't know.
Well,
Is he right?
He's right, actually.
Hey! We should never doubt you. Or we probably-
ever.
Well, maybe sometimes.
So yeah, overall, I'm giving that a 7. Seems high. I'm gonna go 6. 6 out of 10.
Okay, and I would continue with my thing of recommend or not recommend. I would not recommend Aladdin. In fact, I would recommend the animated Aladdin. Please go watch that. I would not recommend this.
I will
Aladdin.
stick. Yeah. Here you go. Here's my Gary. We should review. We should do short reviews. Here's my Gary review for Aladdin. I know I've not done this for any other film, but Aladdin's getting one. My Gary review is: if you have the choice, watch the original. But if you are going to the cinema, seeing this isn't going to be the worst thing in the world. However, I'm not going to go out of my way to rewatch this at any point.
I will never rewatch this movie.
So yeah, John Wick. How many films we got left?
2 films.
2.
Don't forget the correct title. It's John Wick Chapter 3, Parabellum. Because without the Parabellum, we wouldn't know what the fucking film's about.
They said Parabellum in the film, and I went, "Oh, they did
It's
it!"
going to be in one of those montages of like when they say the movie title and of course the best one will always be some kind of Suicide Squad.
Suicide
'Cause
Squad.
nothing's ever better than that. I
John
can't
Wick
wait
3.
for
Do
them
you want to
do
go
it the
first?
second
Shall I go first?
Eh,
I went first for Aladdin. You go first for John Wick 3. John Wick. Sorry, if we're following the same naming conventions that we were sticking to with Pokemon Detective Pikachu,
yes.
we have to talk about John Wick
Chapter 3,
Parabellum.
That's, that's not going to get old. This is a fucking fun movie.
It is a fucking fun movie.
Holy shit. I mean, I don't know with John Wick where to start with it because I've got my nitpicky, filmy, like opiniony stuff. But then I've also
I like how you've toned that down.
Okay.
To nitpicky, filmy head.
I guess-
Whereas I have
know-
another name
I know
for
what you're
it.
going to say.
Your pretentious wanky head.
Okay, there we go. Potato. No one says potato, but fine.
Nobody does say
I know, I
potato.
hate
What
that
is
saying.
that saying about? Do people in Boston say potato? I want a potato with my coffee.
No, it's the whole I say potato, and you say potato.
Yeah, but it must
You
have
say tomato, and I say tomato. Potato, potato,
just
tomato,
wait.
tomato. Let's call the whole thing off.
Is it because of? Is it just so that the song
Yeah.
could rhyme with tomato?
Pretty much.
Fucking, that's just...
For all these years, I thought it was some suburb
Thing from
somewhere calling
Boston.
them. Do you guys want a jack of potato? But if it's just because somebody had to make a rhyme, then that's better.
Every time Ben Affleck made a film about Boston, he had to cut out the scenes of people saying potato. It's just like,
Potato.
we can't let them know this is how we say it. They'll think we're stupid. It's like, too late, Ben.
That guy already
Too late.
wrote a song about us, and
Fuck.
the whole world's laughing.
But then we killed him and buried his family. Why would we do that, Ben? Because he said potato.
Potatoes. Right, John Wick 3, brilliant fun.
Yeah.
John
ton
Wick
of fun.
are now, for me, moving into the. You don't go in to see a John Wick film expecting it to be a nitpicky film.
No, but my nitpicky things are just things of a problem that's arisen in the second one and growing into the third one, which is my problem with the second one was they started to try and construct this universe that wasn't fully there, and it just felt really forced at times.
It was alluded to in the first one.
But it was alluded, but it took what felt like a very grounded film about just a man wanting revenge for the killing of his dog, and then it started to expand it into this almost like comic booky, video gamey, kind of silly, like slapsticky. And I was like, I don't want this stuff. I want just the simplicity of the first one.
It's funny that you say that about the slapstick, because you are right. If it didn't portray a bunch of the scenes that it portrays in the light that it does, you could watch that film and laugh a lot.
Yeah.
And I kind of did laugh when I was watching it, but not in a haha how funny, more in a kind of haha that was awesome.
I mean, it was interesting with the third one how tonally different it felt from the other two, because there was a lot more played for laugh moments in this film.
Yeah.
To an extent,
He uses a horse like a gun.
yeah, it's so good.
Best bit.
It's just a
Best bit of the film. He does it twice as well.
Also, I was watching that scene thinking I mean, I know what the stunt team's like, so they've probably filmed in a stable. And the last thing I want to be doing is having a fist fight around a bunch of horses that could get a little uncomfortable and just kick off. And one of them, in the context of the movie, does kick off, and it's amazing.
It's great. And then there's that bit where he makes a gun for a single shot.
Yeah.
Don't know
Why not? I mean, I thought that gun was going to come into play at some point. And
So did I.
No. But then that scene after that leads into what I am declaring, and I probably shouldn't because it's too early to say this, what might be the best action scene in all of the John Wick franchises.
Which bit was
which
that?
is that fight in the hallway of knives.
Oh, that
It
was
is
so good.
I was just sitting there,
So
and
good.
because I'm a deranged, terrifying motherfucker, I was just gleefully sitting there, wide-eyed, smiling, going this is gorgeous to watch. And of course, there's some really gory scenes in that,
Yeah,
and the
yeah.
audience around me was just wincing and screaming and and I was sitting there going, yes, more.
So I think you're right, though. I think without just sitting here and then talking about our favorite bits of the film, because
Which we could easily do.
I think that's what John Wick Chapter 3 Parabellum
Thank you.
is, though. It's a film that you can go and watch, and then it's the new action films of, oh, what about that bit? Oh no, this. You know what I mean? You're not really going to see it because of its deep lore and whatnot.
Here's the problem with John Wick Chapter 2 and John Wick Chapter 3 Parabellum. They're trying to build more of this lore, and then it. I mean, this film is 2 hours 10 minutes long.
2:10, I think.
Yeah, and this film doesn't need to be 2 hours and 10 minutes long because it feels its length at times.
Yeah.
And there's to such an extent where this film is trying to build its universe. The whole the adjudicator stuff. I really enjoyed that, and it was interesting, but it made the film so much longer that at points I forgot about John Wick because he would be gone for extended periods of time.
Yeah, and the scene in the mint factory is more or less just Halle Berry's section. John Wick barely. I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and the problem with that scene is, I think that might be the weakest action scene, is because it goes on for way too long. That action scene feels like it's at least 8 minutes long.
It's because they give John Wick a little bit, then they give Halle Berry a huge chunk of screen time, which I was fine with. But you're right, it goes Halle Berry, a good 5-6 minutes of just Halle Berry doing John Wick stuff with 2 dogs, awesome, and then it cuts back to John Wick doing more John Wick stuff.
Yeah.
And you're exactly right. It
feels too long.
You get to a point where you're going, yeah, I know he's going to kill all these people.
Yeah, and then I felt the problem with that was they dedicated so much time to that point that they were obviously very limited in what the stunts they could do with those 2 attack dogs. So it kind of became a bit repetitive. Whereas Halle Berry's in these, I mean, she's got some amazing fucking choreographed fight moments where I'm like, holy fuck, this woman really did the John Wick School of Acting.
Yeah.
But then the dogs come into it, and the dogs kind of keep doing the same
biting
thing.
dicks off.
Keep doing the same thing, and then John Wick
Left, right,
keeps shooting in the
center.
head, and I was like, okay, this scene I'm starting to feel kind of
I can give you that.
a bit exhausted.
You hear I had this theory after John Wick 1, and then it's kind of blown up. It's one of these ones where I said it, didn't tell anyone, didn't write it down, and now I feel like people are stealing my intellectual property. But I thought it after John Wick 1, and it just feels like it's going more and more that way. John Wick is just a version of The Matrix that got rebooted.
I mean, why not?
It 100% could be.
It could easily just end with John Wick just waking up in a chair and then pulling the plug out, and you're like, you get noise.
I see, no, but I don't think it's not that. He won't ever get pulled out. This is when he's in the Matrix.
Just like he is
this was an
he's an agent.
early one. This is an early reiteration of the Matrix, or maybe it's one after. No, I reckon it's early before the Matrix films happen. This is the robots running through something, and they've made a more video game-esque universe that's very gun focused.
Do you think that
John Wick's trying to bust out? And then in the second one, when Lawrence Fishburne turned up, I went, well, that's because Morpheus isn't pulled out of the Matrix yet.
I love Lawrence Fishburne in these movies because he is a man who's clearly just having the most fun. Because every scene he just chews the scenery.
It up. The
And
scene
he's
with the
just like-
pigeons was so good.
Oh,
Because it was probably it's kind of Tarantino-esque, where he's just
Don't insult the film.
no, but just that bit where he's shouting about being the king of the Bowery. Yeah. I am the king. Cut me where I stand. Dead. Oh fuck. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going for like a solid 7 out of 8 out of 10.
Oh, well, you're just jumping. I've barely even scratched the surface of while we're talking about this film. For example,
we have another film to do.
I know, but shush. For example, yeah, but that one's not worth talking about. This one is.
I can't even remember what the other one is.
It's Rocketman. Boo.
Okay.
There's my
Rocket
review. for John Wick Chapter 3, Parabellum, they introduce two actors who, the minute they appeared on screen, little martial arts movie Gavin, we just went, yay!
Oh,
Because
the fight scene in the Hall of Mirrors at the end.
Yeah, because you got the two guys from the Raid 1 and the Raid 2.
Yep.
I think both of them are Indonesian martial artists. So
that was a great scene.
I've seen them in a bunch of movies, and they are incredible at what they do. So the minute they appeared on screen, I went, here we fucking go. Fight scene was just,
yeah,
and
it was phenomenal.
And I love how that fight scene ended, because it can go so many ways. And then, but then here's again where we come to our problem is, playing into your video gamey thing, is the final bit for John Wick when he gets to the hotel and it gets thingied, and then it all felt like the stages of a boss battle, where he fights the two guys and he beats them, and he fights the next two guys and he beats them, and then he goes to the boss, and by the time you get to the boss, it's kind of like, I've run out of steam. Like, I don't really care about this boss guy anymore. Plus that guy's performance was confusing.
Yeah, it was an odd
like
one.
He was like serious and like intense, and then he was jokey and fun, and then he's like serious but jokey, and I'm like, I don't know. I mean, I've seen him, and has anyone seen the American MasterChef with him, where he reveals food?
Nope.
I got introduced to this thing where he reveals food, but he does it in the most shit maddening way I've ever seen, where he just like a big fucking tray lifts up and like fog comes out and he goes, salmon!
Salmon!
It's so intense. And I'm just like, and now picturing him and John Wick as this like ghostly ninja guy, I was like, oh, that's weird.
Yeah, he was an odd performance. Ian McShane, I think Ian McShane falls into the Lawrence Fishburne category of just
he's just enjoying himself.
His time.
I mean, that fucking moment where they go out and they're like shooting their guns, but they're just bouncing off the guys' helmets and stuff, and then they both walk in going like, new armor, yeah. And he's just sitting there sipping a brandy, listening to music. I'm like,
come on,
this is glorious.
I think actually my favorite bit of John Wick was, I think in all of it, is when that exact bit, the bullets are shooting off the mega armored raid cops.
Yeah.
And they come back to the vault, and John Wick says Winston, but he says it in the most scathingly angry. Winston, like you fucking let me in! I gotta kill some motherfuckers! Like, just so angry that he's been delayed in murder for you.
And then they get those shotguns, and there's nothing more glorious. It never stopped being old. Of any time they would shoot someone in the head with those shotguns, they would, I'm assuming, use a pulley system to pull them back, and it's just glorious when like the sound design of it, and then you go and they fly away. It's like, yes, keep shooting them in the head.
The reason I think I don't want to scratch too much on this is because we can do a John Wick.
Oh yeah, we should do it like
full
all
episode.
three. Yeah,
There's enough films of them, so I think I'm gonna give it a solid. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna give it as far as action films go, it's an 8 out of 10 action film.
My last thing I'm going to say is this film does a jump the shark moment at the end, and I'm worried for where it's going to go in the future.
I'm with you. It needs to. I think the next one needs to be the final.
I thought this was the final one.
This was the final.
I thought they were like, we're doing a solid trilogy, and now apparently they're not, and they're doing a TV series as well about this universe that doesn't involve John Wick, and I'm like, please stop, you're ruining it.
If the next one's the last one, I'd be happy with that.
Yeah, but you can't end at 4. They're probably going to go to 5.
Why? Why can't they end on 4?
'Cause movies.
All the best
Look
things
at
end on
Rocky.
4. Shrek, Rocky.
Oh, they just released the
Were we just forgetting Rocky 5
and Creed 1 and 2.
No, but
and Rocky 6?
Because I was gonna say Creed's like a not like a
It's
reboot.
still in the
It's not
same
a
universe.
reboot. It's actually the same
Ivan
universe.
Drago comes back, for fuck's sake. I must
All
break
right,
you.
fine. Shrek finishes on a 4. Shrek 4 Ever After.
And
Jaws.
that is the benchmark.
Jaws finished on a 4.
No, but Blue Steel is partly in that universe. It's not. I just
Technically,
said
Shrek's
that,
the Shrek universe is only 3 films because Shrek the Third is not official canon
Why is Shrek the Third not?
because it's fucking
Wait,
shit.
is this just
That's
because
just-
I've
that's just
decided?
audio-
It's my own agenda.
yeah, because in my world,
Pushing my own agenda on
there's
that
only
one.
like 3 Star Wars movies, and that's it.
It's number 1,
Right.
number 8,
Rocketman.
And the solo movie.
Well, yeah, I'm just gonna.
Solo movie.
Yeah, I'll just say
Loved it.
I absolutely recommend John Wick Chapter 3.
Yeah.
Parabellum. Go see it.
Totally.
You'll have a fucking blast.
I'm with you. Great
Especially if you got what Audio Boy and I were lucky to have, a receptive crowd that's oohing and ahhing and laughing.
Yeah.
It's so much fun.
That's just me. Anytime I go to the cinema, I am your receptive crowd. We should go see a film together.
I don't know if I want to see a film with you because
Love
you'll just be like, Gavin, this is funny, and I'm like,
Oh, no,
"Back
no,
the
no.
fuck off, Gary."
I don't talk during the film.
I don't
I am
know.
quiet during the film. If something happens, I
React.
receive it well. I react well.
Yeah, but I've seen you react to, like, when you think about Andre the Giant farting. I don't want to be in the cinema when you have a reaction like that because I'll either have to kill you or leave.
Well, it depends.
Oh,
If the film's that funny.
I forgot to tell this story, but cutting back to Aladdin for a second, Audio Boy and I went to see Aladdin together. Wait to hear this fucking story, Gary, because this is, as a movie podcast, cuts deep to the core of us movie listeners / watchers. We can't be a movie listener, but a watcher. So we are sitting there. Trailers are playing. There's an old couple sitting to the left of Philip,
Yeah.
and they are quiet
They
and
weren't that
peaceful
old.
as can be. In my eyes, they're old because it made it easier
How
for
old
me.
were they?
Early to mid 40s.
Okay, so that's
Yeah,
not that
older
old.
than us.
Older
Way
than-
older
older
than
than
you,
us.
Audio Boy. So they're as quiet and as peaceful can be. Lights go down. Movie starts. Now, I wasn't aware of this. Audio Boy told me this after the fact.
Yeah.
But her phone rang. And what did she do, Gary?
No.
She answered her phone.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
And she answered the phone call. Now, I wasn't aware of this because at this point I was dazzled by Aladdin. That's not true, but I was watching the film. And then some time goes by, and then her phone, the phone call ends. Her phone goes away. Then her phone her phone just stays out, and she then just starts WhatsApping on her phone, full brightness.
My God.
Didn't turn it down.
Did you
and
just
then
say something?
wait, it gets there because then I clocked it, and I went, "This woman's got her phone out," and I'm sitting there and I'm starting to tense up because I'm an
You
angry
get the
little
heart pounding.
yeah.
He did the reposition where he readjusted
get
himself.
Ready. Yeah, you got to get ready
But
to
I'm
have a
fucking
word. You got to get ready to say,
fuming.
Yeah.
"Excuse me, can you turn your phone off?" And,
And I-
your heart
And I was sitting
bursts
there
out of your chest.
And I was sitting there like, I'm going to cut the bitch. I'm going to kill her because I'm watching a fucking movie. And I just lean across the Audio Boy. I'm like, could you put your phone away? We're trying to watch the movie. Now, I tried to be, because I always do this. I start off polite, and if it
He
continues...
did not come across as polite.
Well, that's
Oh, well,
because the
fuck him,
bitch
no.
had her phone out.
I'm
but,
with him. I'm totally with you on this.
But I start off with like, can you put your phone away? We're trying to watch the movie. I
do
would
it
say
again?
that's the best of politeness. Now, there was one other point where I feel like I saw a little light, but it was under a coat. And
Oh,
I
don't
was
worry.
like...
I clocked it because I made a point of like sighing really heavily and like moving and kind of like bumped her a little bit to kind of be like, can you not?
Because when I saw the light, I was just like, here it goes. This is it.
Because I can do
This is when I'm
passive
gonna
aggression to the
knock
max.
out a woman in a cinema.
Why do people do it? Just
So-
go out the fucking
Just
room.
don't go to the cinema. Leave.
Yeah.
They were right at the front as well, so she could have easily just like
Left.
jumped out. real
Oh,
quick.
so yeah. I mean, that didn't affect my experience of Aladdin because it's still not a good film. But to anyone out there, and I don't think we have, if you're listening to this podcast and you're a person who takes out your phone and uses it in any way for whatsoever, I don't care what the reason is, fuck you. Stop listening to this podcast.
no, I'm with you.
You're a terrible person.
I'm with you. Bastard.
Oh, it infuriates me.
Rocketman.
But not as much as our next film, Rocketman.
So you didn't enjoy Rocketman?
So Rocketman is another by the numbers, just generic music biopic that I found tedious.
Guy's so slow.
I found it tedious, but I would say the visual delight of Dexter Fletcher's directing was the one saving grace of the movie.
So I enjoyed Rocketman. And I like a musical.
As do I.
So I kind of went in. I didn't know it was a musical. I thought it was going to be... I don't know what I thought. I didn't realize it was going to be a full-on musical, though, basically.
I'd
That
read
makes
it in
sense?
an interview somewhere. So I
Yeah.
was,
So I didn't know it was going to be a full-on musical. I know nothing about Elton John, and I know Elton John music. So I kind of watched it pretty blank. You know what I mean? I had no expectations of what
you
I
were
was
there
looking
to
for.
learn.
Well, not even. I didn't know what I was there for. I just went, Rocketman. I actually was going in saying, I'm not that fussed about seeing this, to be perfectly honest. Came out, and I went, I actually enjoyed that.
To quote the message you sent Audio Boy and I, it was banging.
Yeah, but then it is one of those ones. I think I've fallen into your problem with Bohemian Rhapsody of the music. The music
yep.
sweeps you along.
It's the music.
And you kind of can't, because after talking about it with a friend of mine a bit more, the more I've thought about it, I've kind of gone, you know what? It's a bit self-congratulatory wanky, because the scene with his mum where he's like, I'm gay, and she goes, oh, I know that, but I hope you're aware you're gonna never have love in your entire life because you are a bad person for being gay. It's not quite as on the nose as
And then
that,
it
but
cuts back
it's
to it.
pretty on the fucking
Yeah.
nose. There is no way in hell, and maybe I don't know this, and I could be wrong. And if Elton John, you're listening, I apologize. But there's no way that conversation happened like that. I expect the conversation was, well, just so you know, if you're in the gay lifestyle, I've heard that, because I get it, she's an older woman.
Also, with the time in which she grew up.
The Britain in the 70s was not a fun place to
Yeah,
be.
like the time.
No, I get
Yeah.
that. So this is the things, all right. So I get that the conversation would have been akin to that, right?
No, in my mind, there was never a conversation, but they needed one for the movie, so they just wrote one. For
See,
the
I
movie.
reckon the conversation happened, but the conversation was more on the lines of, I know you're gay, keep it to yourself. I agree with that bit. And I hope you realize that what I've heard from the girls at the club, gay marriage, and there is no such thing as gay marriage. They just all like banging, and it's all about sex. And I hope you're aware. You know what I mean? It was more of a,
I mean, you know
what I've heard from the girls, which is complete misinformation, rather than just, you've opened yourself to a life of no love
Yeah.
because you are a piece of shit.
she
Elton
speaks
John.
like a person in a movie and not like a human being.
Yeah, and then when I thought about that key bit, more of the film started going.
I mean, the most impressive thing that just happened there is Gary's accent as a kind of North London woman was way more convincing and on point than Bryce Dallas Howard,
Yeah.
who couldn't pick a fucking accent for that movie.
Yeah, she's odd. But yeah, I mean, that's, to be perfectly honest, it's kind of as much as I have to say about it. I enjoyed it. If you're a big fan of Elton John, you should go see it. You'll love it. Of course you will. If you don't know much about him and you like musicals, it's all right. Maybe worth a watch. And if you don't like those things, don't go. Or if you're Gavin.
And now it's my turn. So I'll start off with negative, go positive. Taron Egerton's performance, bizarre, all over the place. Sometimes I'm baffled by the scenes they chose as, like, for example, the one you're talking about where he tells his mum he's gay and stuff.
Yep.
That he is all over the place in that fucking scene. The musical numbers felt so forced at times, where the dialogue was clearly pointed in a way so that it could then just segue gracefully, but it doesn't ever gracefully segue into the musical numbers. It just kind of like bulldozes through a fucking wall and your face into the musical numbers. You're just like, Jesus Christ, okay, I get it, it's an Elton John song. Back off a wee bit. But
That's very musical, though.
True.
That is a musical
But this film
thing.
didn't earn it. Never earned it. Also, props to the writer of the script and to Elton John for just fully diving into his struggles with drugs and alcohol.
Yeah.
Because this film doesn't
hold back.
Doesn't hold back and doesn't paint him in the greatest of pictures at times.
No, totally.
And I'm like, good for it for that. Shame Taron Egerton was the person that got to do that performance, because he's just too much of a... He's like a Will Smith. He's just a big movie star looking kind of person. He's not an actor. But Dexter Fletcher, I think, is the saving grace of this film, and the cinematographer and the team he worked with, because unlike, I'm not going to even say its name. You know what movie I'm thinking that I'm referencing here. I've decided I never want to speak about that movie again.
Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yes, that. But unlike that movie,
Dun 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 dun.
Rocketman has some actual delightful visual flair to it. It's a really nice movie to look at in times. Yes, the wigs are awful, but we'll let that go. The costume design, the set design, the period stuff, like that scene, like the orgy scene, all that kind of stuff, and it kind of gets when he's like really high on drugs.
Yeah.
All that stuff is really shot well. Like when he falls into the pool, there's a clear vision by Dexter Fletcher.
Yeah,
for
that
this film.
scene in the pool specifically is a real good one to
with
pull
that
out.
wee
where
kid who can't sing.
the little kid who can't sing, but then Taron Egerton, and you're right, it's more the visual of him being underwater, them getting him to do the lines, and then obviously they filmed the whole. I thought, oh, okay, so he's not actually underwater, and then he starts singing, the bubbles coming out. I was like, oh shit, so he obviously they've cut away to let him breathe in between, but that was a fucking really nice looking scene.
Yeah, it's like
real nice.
There's many points in this film we're just like that's just nice to look at.
Yeah.
It's a nice looking film. And compared to the previous music biopic we had, this is well and far ahead of that. And I think every single way. Because that previous film that got nominated for a bunch of things and got a bunch of attention, dog shit. Absolute dog shit. There's not one good thing about it. This
Bohemian Rhapsody.
movie has some actual redeeming elements.
You need to get thunder, lightning, and like a organ sound effect for
He's
every
not-
time we say Bohemian
He's
Rhapsody.
not going to do any of that.
You know, like a Phantom of the Opera style.
He has a week to edit this, and he won't do
Yeah.
any of that.
There's currently 100 minutes of audio to edit,
Aye.
and then I have to do that on top of that.
Goodness.
Did anyone else think in Rocketman that an awful lot of attention was paid specifically to Rocketman? And like, I felt like Bohemian Rhapsody, it was like covering like a career of music. So you could be like, oh, he did all of these songs, all
Yeah.
this kind of thing. And I've said the name of it now. Deal
I mean,
with
you're allowed to. I can't.
it. But
It is my Voldemort.
Rocketman, it felt like there was this sort of like genesis of like a rock star with Crocodile Rock, and it kind of went away from that, and then it just kept doing Rocketman all the time, as if like it didn't trust that people would know his other songs. It was really odd to
I
me.
don't know. No, I wouldn't, because there was a few songs when I was watching it. Me and Dave had the same thought. There was a few songs throughout the film that we both, at the end of it, I didn't even realize that was an Elton John. There was about 4 of them that I didn't even know were Elton John songs. So I don't know. Maybe not for me anyway.
I mean, the songs are just a part and parcel with a music biopic at this point. We're just like, we need to put in the popular songs that people know because it'll get them in the seats and in thinking that they're enjoying something.
But they only teased, and I'm not going to forgive them for this. They only teased. I guess that's why we call it The Blues, which is the best Elton John song, and it was a fucking travesty that didn't go in there.
Don't know, he's got a lot of good ones.
It does
best,
have a lot of good
best difficult one.
The Crocodile Rock bit was nice, where he, like, for sure, and again showing the elation that he felt when that entire club was
Yeah.
jumping with him.
Yeah, it's a really great scene.
That was an awesome scene.
Again, Dexter Fletcher has some art. And interestingly, I was mentioning the Story Boy. Dexter Fletcher was brought on to try and salvage the situation after Bryan Singer was fired from the movie that's name shall not be said. So I'm now interested to know what Dexter Fletcher's involvement was with that movie, now seeing what he's done with Rocketman.
Yeah. Right, should we wrap there? That was a long episode.
I mean, yeah, I had more to say, but it's not worth it. Because Rocketman...
Well,
what rating would you give Rocketman?
I'm going to go... It's better than Aladdin, not as good as John Wick. 7 out of 10.
And I would not recommend Rocketman. I see no reason to. Just go listen to it. Open up your Spotify, kids, and just listen to Elton John songs.
Elton John music.
That's all you need to do.
Guys, thank you so much for listening to this. Slightly longer than normal. There's more films in our roundup this time. We probably should have waited until after Godzilla as well, but then that would have added another film.
Go see Booksmart.
It's fine. Yeah, not that we'll do another roundup, but we'll probably chat in detail or in passing about a few of the other films that are coming out this month. Big ones: Booksmart, Godzilla, King of Monsters.
Go see Booksmart.
Mar's out at the
The
moment.
new X-Men movie.
New X-Men. Oh, fuck, man, it's a busy month.
I can't wait to shit on that X-Men movie.
But guys, thank you so much for listening. As always, you can get in touch with us at our email, meanderingmoviepodcast@gmail.com.
Yep.
You can get to us on Twitter at meanderingpod.
Correct.
Instagram, just search for the Meandering Movie Podcast, as well as Facebook. And yeah, leave us a review. Get in touch. Send us a comment. Let us know if you like us, which one of us you like most. Give us a rating or say recommend, not recommend. It's up to you. I'd prefer ratings. Just say not recommend for Gav.
Just not recommend.
We're all feeling it.
And also, don't forget, if you're on iTunes, go down in the description. There's a link to my Big Brother's short film. Give that a watch. You can find it on YouTube. Some sunny day. Just search by most recent.
Shout out to Kevin for that great film.
To who?
Kevin, your brother.
That's not my brother's name.
I just took a stab in the dark.
Good. Nope. Anyway,
Adam.
and don't forget to head over to Twitch,
Ben?
where Gary is with Pixel Cafe. He's twitching.
Oh, yeah, at Pixels Cafe. You can come watch me play some video games.
Watch one where him and his girlfriend play The Sims for way too long and just build characters.
Anyway, thanks for listening, guys. Please tune in to next week where we're going to talk about something else.
I have no idea.
I have no idea. We need to talk about it. See ya.
Bye.
It's Meandering Movies. It's Meandering Movies. It's Meandering Movies. So won't you lend an ear?